Awesome. All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Erica Sanchez. I use she, her, ella pronouns. I'm an assistant director and Latinx community liaison here in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at UC Berkeley. I will be moderating today's student panel. Just as a reminder, this is really focused on the experience of our students who are here on this panel. So focusing on the student experience. We do have other sessions through our Discover Berkeley series if you have questions that are more specific to major, financial aid, etc. So you'll see a link in the chat so that you can look for other sessions to make sure that we're addressing all of your needs. So let me go ahead and I want to have my colleagues introduce themselves. There's a few of us who will be answering questions in the Q&A section, but also just helping support with anything that we have. So I'll toss it over to Alberto to introduce himself first.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Alberto Davalos. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm one of the assistant directors of admissions here at Berkeley. And I'll pass it on to my colleague, Dion.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy y'all able to make it. I'm already seeing really great questions in the chat. My name is Dion Teasley. I'm an assistant director here in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, and thanks again for being here.
Hello, all. My name is Cecilia Luna. I'm one of the assistant directors here in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Super excited to have you on. We'll also be answering questions. So again, thank you for submitting those now, and we hope you enjoy today's panel.
Great, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for the admissions officers. Now I'm going to have our student panelists introduce themselves. So we'll start with Austin.
Hello, everyone. I'm Austin. I'm currently a third-year student junior at UC Berkeley. I'm majoring in economics and political economy. Those are two different majors. Both are housed within the College of Arts and Science. I will be graduating in spring 2023. And some of my on-campus involvements include being a student advisor at the undergraduate admissions office. I'm also involved in a community service club, Circle K, and I am pre-law and I'm involved in the pre-law frat here at Cal. I'll pass it on to Alejandra to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandra. I'm a first year here at Cal, and my intended majors are Spanish and Media Studies. Since this is my first year here at Cal, I'm still getting to know some of the clubs that Cal offers. But as of right now, I'm working through a fellowship through the psychology department, which is a great way to get some professional experience. So if you plan on applying here, there's things you can look forward to. And now I'm gonna pass it on to Millie.
Thank you, Alejandra. Hi, everyone. My name is Millie. I use she, her, ella pronouns. I'm a senior, triple majoring in political science, legal studies, and ethnic studies. Since I'm on my way out, I have done a lot of work with the Bridges Multicultural Resource Center, which is an umbrella organization that houses 7 retention and recruitment centers focused on underrepresented minority students of color and helping them not only come to campus, but also graduate. I've also done the Cal in the Capital internship, which is similar to UC-DC on any other campus, which is just a program that helps you get an internship in DC. I'm pre-law, so it was definitely very helpful. I'm also a student advisor with the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, so I can help answer any admission related questions. And if you have ever called the office, it's probably Austin or myself answering the phone.
Oh, great. Thanks. I love those intros. All right, so I want to start us off with the first question, and I see something similar was asked in the Q&A. I want to know first and foremost, when you first got into Berkeley, how was that transition from high school to your first year at Berkeley? So I know, Alejandra, you're currently in it right now. So let's start with Millie, and you can answer this question first, and then Austin, and then we'll go to Alejandra.
Yeah, my transition, well, I'm from SoCal, so I'm from Southern California, small, I guess not that small, but I'm from San Bernardino, and the transition was, I think, a lot to take in, just that being in being a first generation student, not really knowing what was next. And so coming to Cal, I think it was a little difficult, not gonna lie. Just being away from home, I was a little homesick. I wanted to be Miss Independent, but I was still homesick. And honestly, it just took like getting out of my comfort zone on just like looking for clubs or whether it was social or academic to really kind of gauge at what I was interested in and what my peers were interested in. I think living in the dorms also helped a lot because I was surrounded by other students who were also from SoCal, also adapting. So it helped build community a lot quicker too. But yeah, so it was a little rocky, I think, to start, but by my spring semester, I already had like plans with my friends to visit like places in SoCal together for spring break, since it's kind of funny that our worlds just merge when we're like a couple minutes apart, realistically, all our life. But yeah, and I'll leave it to Austin.
Yeah, so I'll say in general, for a lot of students, the transition from high school to college can be quite challenging. In high school, you have like set schedule every day, and here in college, it's completely different. You determine your own schedule, and also you're most likely living without parents for the first time. So there's a lot of free time on your hands, as well as not a lot of regulation by like a school or by a parent per se. So it's definitely like a good first first step into adulthood. College, I would say, how college is. But yeah, as Millie mentioned, the majority of first year students at UC Berkeley live in dorms. So it's great to have like a community of other people and friends that you could rely on who are also making that transition to college, as well as getting involved in organizations. I believe getting involved in extracurricular could also help add structure to your life, and I guess really help make you more responsible and in terms of time management and all the other extracurricular and extracurricular commitments and classes you may have. And I'll pass it on to Alejandra.
Hi, yes, my experience so far has been kind of like Millie's in a way that I'm from Norcal, and I'm from like a small town called Fortuna, and I feel like the biggest drastic change was like going away from a small town, my community where everyone know each other, to like Cal, right, where there's like a lot of like such diversity, so many new people. Like it's completely different from where I'm from. So I feel like that was like the biggest change I had when I moved here. And for me, living in the dorms has really helped me to build community within the girls from my same floor, because I applied to like all girls floor, and I feel like that has really helped me like build relationships and bonds with all the other girls, and that makes me feel safer in like I feel like in a community right now. So besides that, it is different than high school, like how Austin mentioned. Like you create your own schedule here, and in high school is like you have all your classes that you have to get done. Here you work at your own, like your not your pace, but like you figure out your schedule, how you want it to work and look like for you. And it is like kind of tough to as like a low income and like first generation student to adapt here, because like as Millie mentioned as well, it's really hard because like you don't know what's next. So yeah, that's been my experience so far.
Great, thank you for that. So I'm seeing that folks are asking, like, what is the community surrounding the Berkeley campus like? So, are there places you like to go? What kind of vibe do you get? How does it compare to where you're from? That kind of question. Does anyone want to go first?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go first. So places that I like to visit around here, UC Berkeley, the botanical garden. We have a very nice, beautiful botanical garden. In my opinion, probably the best botanical garden of all the UCs. We are nearby San Francisco, and a lot of people like on the weekends like to make day trips to San Francisco with their friends. I will be transparent, and I can say that sometimes the surrounding area of UC Berkeley might not necessarily be safe. If you're ever a student here at UC Berkeley, I would recommend carrying pepper spray with you. Of course, be vigilant at night times. Don't walk home by yourself, or just texting a friend when you do get home after walking home by yourself at night. Yeah, I'll pass it on to either Millie or Alejandra.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here for like almost 2 months, so like I haven't been going out like exploring UC Berkeley as much, but like as from my experience with me and my friends, we usually just like, we're trying out like new restaurant places and stuff like juniors and seniors have told us like they're really good. And I know there's like this pizza place called Artichokes Pizza that's really popular for freshmen. So that's the one place I guess I go the most. And I'll pass it to Millie.
Yeah, Berkeley is definitely your college town, right? Like there's a ton of restaurants, boba shops, that you can literally, I think there's like a ton that I still haven't even fully entered. Like I just discovered Alley Kitchens like this year, and I was like, it's like right across from campus. But yeah, we're definitely a pretty big college town, I would say. You can also head downtown if you're not looking for something immediately close, and you can take a nice stroll across campus to get to that west side. I don't know. I think the question was like, what's campus, what surrounds it? So yeah, it just feels very, very much like a campus vibe. A lot of students all the time. We have the bar in downtown, so you could take that to the city if you wanted to go. I don't think I really explored the city as much as I thought I would when I was like coming in. I was like, I want to go to the city all the time. But I think it just like turns out that way. And I do like random trips, but they're like literally random. But if I could see if you carved out the time, you could definitely get to know the city if you wanted to. Yeah.
Awesome. So Millie, you referred to BART, and that stands for Bay Area Rapid Transit, which is kind of like our subway system. And then you kept saying the city. Can you let us know what city you're referring to specifically?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Awesome. Okay, just want to make sure that folks caught that. So yeah, we're right across the bridge from San Francisco, also next to Oakland. So there's some really great things around, a lot of art and culture as well. I'd want to add as well to say that. Okay, so I believe Alejandra, you mentioned living on an all-girls floor in your dorm. I'm curious, so Millie, why don't you tell us about your housing experience? Have you lived in dorms? And I know you have a special role that you might want to tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, so as listed here, I'm a residential advisor. And so what that stands for is an RA, right? And so when you enroll to live on campus, you'll be given an RA who lives on your floor. We're kind of like the besties, we're there to guide you. We're there to provide resources. We're upperclassmen who have lived in the dorms to kind of say like, hey, this is normal, or hey, this isn't normal, right? We're also there to hold your hair when you're going through it, right? To give you the tissues when you got an A- on a midterm and you're freaking out. And so that is something you can apply for after or during your first year. I've loved it. I am, I think, a natural leader, which I feel like sounds ugly to say out loud, but I have loved just to be able to see that impact, right? My RA had a big impact on me. I also lived on an all-girls for Alejandra. I was in Unit 3 Norton, but yeah, I loved it, loved my experience there. And so we're just there to foster community. And so that is our biggest job, is to create a home away from home, right? And so this position is very important to the university. They pay your room and board, so I don't pay for my meal plan and I don't pay for my housing. And I've had this position since my sophomore to my senior year, right? So I've never had to worry about housing, worry about Bay Area rent or any of that. But I've loved it. And it's also given me the opportunity to move around in different units, right? So you'll get the option to rank where you want to live. We have high rise, which are our standard taller buildings where it's more communal. You share a triple or a double and a bathroom with the whole floor. But we also have apartment styles where it's like a kitchen and a bathroom and you're sharing with just your suite mates. And then we have suites, right, where it's just one bathroom and it could be 4 girls sharing the suite, etc. So definitely gotten the chance to also explore all of those. They're all fairly close to campus, all of our on-campus housing. But yeah, so if you have any questions about housing, please don't hesitate to ask. And then Alejandra, I don't know if you want to share a little bit on how you like living on your floor. I know you kind of hinted at it, but anything you wanted to elaborate.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I live on all girls like floor in Unit 1. So yeah, we have like a different set of like buildings within each unit, and they're all fairly close to campus, like Millie mentioned. So it's really nice, especially if you're a freshman. So you can just like walk to campus, you're right, and you can get like we have the dining halls, And if you apply to the dorms, you get like this meal plan, like she mentioned too, and you can like go to the different dining halls as well. So you don't have to stick with the one that's like for your unit or whatever they call it. So yeah, and then it's a nice community here at the dorms because like you can meet other people's like in the common area rooms or just like studying in the courtyard. So yeah, that's all I have to share.
And then Austin, I know that you live off campus. Did you live on campus your first year? When did you choose to move off campus? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I did live in an on-campus dorm my freshman year, and for context, for all the attendees here, the majority first-year students live on campus for the first year, and the majority decide to live off campus for their following years. So yeah, so my freshman year, I lived in Unit 2 Cunningham. I actually lived in one of the residential theme programs, specifically the Asian Pacific American Theme House program. One of the unique things about my theme house program was that I got to take a seminar class basically about Asian American studies, along with people who lived on the same floor as me. And yeah, I would recommend if you were to be a student at Cal that you do decide to live in on-campus housing. Yeah, you'll be sharing a floor with other most likely first years as well, and it's a great way to make new friends here at Cal. And right now I'm living in an off-campus apartment, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the majority of students after their first year decide to live in an off-campus apartment, usually because unfortunately how on-campus housing is not guaranteed for continuing students. But well, I still find my on-campus apartment as enjoyable as living on campus. I live about 6 blocks away from UC Berkeley, so it's a great, nice morning walk to campus every morning, getting my steps in, especially after just sitting at my computer this past year during the pandemic. And yeah, living in an apartment, I believe on campus really helps build independence, and it's actually something not really common for a lot of college students to be living in an apartment, an off-campus apartment during college. So it's really helpful in terms of, I guess, transitioning into adulthood and becoming more independent.
Great, awesome. And I'm seeing some questions here asking about what the culture is like on campus around clubs and joining clubs or different communities on the campus. So I'll direct these questions specifically to Millie and Austin because they are, further along in their careers. Let's start with Millie. Millie, what kinds of clubs did you join early on? What has been most impactful for you?
Yes, sorry, I clicked the questions instead of the unmute. The very first club that I joined on campus was the Raíces Retention and Recruitment Center. It is one of the 7 retention and recruitment centers on campus, and it's housed under the Bridges Multicultural Resource Center. So Raíces dedicates and caters all of their attention and resources to the Latinx students on campus. For me, this was very important because I felt like I was going into some of my classes and there weren't a lot of students who looked like me or shared similar narratives as me. And so I was really looking for that sense of belonging and that sense of community. And I honestly knew that they were a club and an org my first year, but I really didn't want to get involved because I was more focused on my school and academics and just adjusting. So I just went to a couple of larger events and just kind of gathered and knew what was being offered. But when I really started to get involved was my sophomore year, and I loved it. It was an instant, feeling of being with folks who understood me, folks who were also first generation, low income, folks whose parents didn't really know what Berkeley was. And so it was really helpful to just help me feel like I belonged. And then through there, I was exposed through more like legal internships that I was interested in pre-law. So the best part of that is that of joining clubs and org is that you're exposed to like, juniors and seniors who are on their way out, who are like, hey, look at this scholarship, look at this club, look at this, fellowship. And so it was a super great time. I then did some volunteer work with the East Bay Sanctuary Covenant Center. So I loved my time there. And then now I'm a paralegal intern with the Oasis Services, which is just across from campus as well. And so it definitely opened a lot of doors, like both in career pathways and, in social ways of helping me feel like I belonged at Cal and that I was going to succeed just like everyone else. but yeah, and then through there too, I was also able to find more folks who did the Cal in the Capital program, because you do have to like interview and be admitted. And so it definitely helped ease some stress in regards to feeling like I didn't know if I was going to get in or not.
Well, thank you, Millie. So first, I'll touch upon my experience at the Daily Californian. I got a question about that in the Q&A. So the Daily Californian has an editorial side, which is of course the side that we're all familiar with, the side that writes articles, and a business side. I'm actually involved in the business side, so I really cannot talk much about editorial, but I can talk about my experience working for Daily Cal Business. So I first got involved in Daily Cal Business my spring semester of my freshman year. I was on the sales team, and then I transitioned into the marketing department. Specifically for the Daily Californian, the business departments don't really interact much with the editorial side. However, I'm still involved in DC marketing since I've been involved in DC marketing since summer 2020, and the marketing specifically, I really like it. There's a strong sense of community in DC marketing, and that is really kind of similar to a lot of other campus clubs on campus. A lot of clubs really emphasize community building, and quite typically a lot of people make their closest friends here at Cal, but by getting involved in a campus organization. And yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome, thanks, Austin. So we have a number of clubs. They can be large, they can be small. And so the Daily Cal, the paper that we have on campus, I think what's really great to hear is that you have that business side and the editorial side. So a lot of things here kind of reflect larger society as a whole. So that's kind of cool. So another person's asking, how do you find internships? Like, how did you find your fellowship, Alejandra? We'll start with you, and then we can toss it over to someone else to answer.
So the way I came across these fellowships, since I'm part of the EOP program, I got reached out by like one of like the advisors or the workers. I don't really know. Her name is Liliana Iglesias, and she just like sent this email, and I was like, oh, fellowships. I want some like professional experience. It won't hurt to try and like apply to different fellowships. So then for like the process to apply to the fellowships is like you have to like, I had to fill out like this Google forms for all the ones I was interested in. And then you have to like go through this process of like writing like the experience that you have. You have to like, I didn't know how to write a resume. So this even actually helped me how to be more familiar with like how to get prepared for like a future job or something like that. And then you also have to go through like a interview process. And yeah. So that's how I came across this fellowship. Like I know a bunch. Every time I tell like one of my friends or like other people that I'm in a fellowship, they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, well, it was in my emails, so I don't really know how to like people find them, but that was my experience.
Yeah, if I can echo, honestly, the best thing you could do is join those listservs, right? So if you are an EOP student, which I am also one, you just sign up on the listserv with an advisor. I also am on all of my major listservs, right? So with ethnic studies, with legal studies, with poli-sci. And so you'll have an advisor in all of your colleges and all of your majors. So you have a vast amount of like support in that realm, and they're always just following up. And so I think some students might feel like, I don't need this spam, like they're going to be sending me weekly emails, weekly newsletters. But if you're on the hunt, you're on the hunt, right? And so I definitely always made sure that I looked through all of the emails just to even highlight like my freshman year. I was like, okay, I'm not interested now, but I know they're going to have it next year, right? Like I know I might want it my junior year. And so I would make a tag or make a note, right? Like, okay, look for this. And this goes for scholarships as well, because I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you're only applying to scholarships prior to getting in, right? And then you're done. but there's still scholarships you can get here at Cal. Like as a student, there's like a leadership award. And so you'll branch out, you'll be doing more. And so that's all that's included in these listservs. So that's what I joined, and that's what I've fed off of now. So the paralegal internship that I have now was through my legal studies advisor. The one that I did with the East Bay Sanctuary Covenant was also through my ethnic studies department, I believe. And then Cal in the Capital is advertised in all, like through all around, you'll hear about it. But that was through my political science department specifically, where they were letting us know that they were also having sessions and fellowships. And so I really just encourage you all to not be afraid to sign up for listservs. It's literally just your email that's going to be going out. And to do it early, because you never know what you may want in the future. And so maybe your freshman year, you're like, I really wanted it, but I couldn't get 2 letters of rec just yet, right? And so how do you prepare then for the next year to come, for you to know that you're going to have to ask 2 professors or 2 graduate student instructors on what it means to write a letter of rec?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to recruiting for internships, I would say for underclassmen, especially for freshmen, I would say it's important that you try to get involved like something on campus. It's very fortunate that UC Berkeley has an extensive alumni network, and yeah, by being involved in an on-campus organization, you'll definitely get lots of help in terms of writing a resume, writing cover letter. Also, you'll have access to the organization's alumni network, who can refer you to internships later on. And yeah, as Millie mentioned, so I've actually like on like the newsletter for the political economy department. Political economy department sends out weekly newsletters offering all these cool opportunities available for students. And well, also I would like to highlight our career center as well as Handshake. Our career center is definitely underutilized here at UC Berkeley, but they offer really great services when it comes to internship and job recruiting. They can review your resume and cover letter if you need to, and I actually really need to utilize that myself. When it comes to to applying for internships, most students typically like apply not really through UC Berkeley. They apply like directly on the company's website. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of help. Students can receive a lot of help from on-campus organization involvement, or like getting a referral through possibly a UC Berkeley alum.
Awesome. All right. So folks have been asking about the transition for the academic rigor. So they're asking if you took AP classes or IB classes in high school, and then what did you notice about the switch from going to high school to college in terms of the classes, the homework, the readings, right? So let's start with Alejandra here, because you're currently in it, and then we can pass it on to someone else.
As a senior, I did take a lot of AP classes like AP Government, AP Literature, like most of you are taking right now. I guess like the biggest difference is the way the professors teach differently than teachers back in high school. Like here you have like this lecture hall, and like the professor is just like going on about the notes, and you have to take notes like whatever you think it's important. Is they're not walking you through like every single thing like they do in high school pretty much. So I guess that was the only like difference. In like the work, like the outside work that we have, it's just, I guess it depends on the class and how many units you're taking. So like, let's say like if you take like a 3-unit class compared to a 5-unit, like a 4-unit class, then the workload is going to be differently. So I guess it depends on the course that you're taking. And then, but the thing that I like about college is the office hours. Like your professors, they all have like different office hours, like in case you are not so sure about some topic, or you just want a little bit like more explanation on something else, then you can go visit your professors during their office hours, and they're going to be there to help you and guide you through the things you don't understand. So yeah.
Yeah, I did the full IB program. So if any of your high schools offer the IB program, then you know what it is. Very similar to AP. I didn't get my diploma, still salty about that 4 years later. But I don't think that anything that really transferred was like ideal to helping me get ahead like I thought it was, or like in high school, I was like, oh, I need to take all of this because it's gonna satisfy this requirement. I think I came with like Spanish and maybe like history. So I guess like there was that small win. But in regards to preparation, I think that, yeah, Alejandra really hit it on the nail in regards to you really like adapt here to just your type of learning. So a lot of my friends could take notes on their laptops, and I don't know if that's just maybe like a technology wave that we're getting into, but like I could never, like I needed to hand write all my notes. But some folks just learned better that way, right? And so you learn kind of what your system is and how you learn better, how you grasp things better. Some of my friends did it just so that they could type quicker, but then they would handwrite, like they would go back and handwrite what they wanted to take away, right? So you go through that process, I think, here. So it's really allowing yourself that time to adjust and adapt. I love that Alejandra mentioned office hours. I think at times it can be a little intimidating to go to, a professor's office hours. So not only will you have your professor available to you, but every bigger course will also have a smaller section. So let's say you have a 3-hour lecture that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So 1 hour every day. Then you'll most likely also have a smaller section where the class could be 250 plus students, but the discussion section is less than 30 students, right? So it gives you more of a smaller ratio. And these are taught by graduate student instructors. So this is a GSI, as we call them. And they're the ones who are actually grading your work. So it's a little easier. They're more closer to our age gap, right? So it can feel better to talk to them and go to their office hours, which I really found helpful. And they can also write you letters of rec and just have the professor sign off. So it's not really too big to do your end there. But my freshman year, I think I really took advantage of our Student Learning Center, which is known as the SLC. You'll learn that there's a lot of acronyms here at Cal. But the Student Learning Center is in the Cesar Chavez building here on campus. And they have a wall dedicated to like a different subject. There's the economics, mathematics, right? There's the English. I thought that English was my forte, right? Here I am pre-law. I was like, I don't like math, whatever, she's gone. And then I'm here figuring out that English isn't my forte, right? And so there's actually students who read your essays and they give you feedback, and that's their job, right? And so they are more than happy. It's less intimidating because it's not really like an adult, but instead a peer. And so I really took advantage of that, as well as study groups, which no one told me about. Like it was just stumbling upon. And there's actually like students who just took a course, so they were really passionate about PS5, and they're like, yeah, I was so passionate and I saw the need, so now I'm making a study group. And like because I took the class, I know the material, and I don't know what else they have to go through, but that was so amazing for me. I absolutely loved and adored it. I wish there was one for every single one of my classes. But it was provided through the SLC. So it's a little easier than when you form your own natural study groups, because this is a paid student that's dedicated to helping you, who also offers office hours. So I love the Student Learning Center, definitely helped me adapt. And I think in regards to just the transition, you learn how to take notes through AP and IB, but I think here you learn about how you're more receptive to it and what actually sticks.
Alejandra and Millie answered the question well. We can move on to the next one.
Great, thanks. All right. So we do have a couple more questions. Give me 1 second. Okay, so actually let's talk about majors. So what was your journey in declaring or deciding which major you want? And I know, Alejandra, you're still in your first couple of months. Let's go ahead and start with Austin on this one. How did you come to your major? And yeah, how did you find it?
Well, yeah, so I kind of already knew when I was a senior in high school applying for colleges that I wanted to major in something in regards to business or economics. So initially coming into Cal, I was actually intending to double major in economics and business administration. How business administration works here at Cal, you actually have to apply for the business administration major when you're second year, and you'll find out whether or not you're admitted into the major during the spring semester of your second year. And unfortunately, the majority of students who apply for the business administration major are not accepted, and that was the case for me. However, I decided, as you can see on the screen, I'm attending double major in economics and political economy. I actually decided to add on the political economy major after after actually reaching out to a senior senior at the time, like who was majoring in political economy at Cal, that I actually went to the same high school as, and just talking to her about her experience at Cal, learning more about political economy major, which is why I am double majoring in economics and political economy. And I also noticed a question about my major in the Q&As. I'll quickly answer that. Political economy is very flexible. You're allowed to take a lot of classes outside of political economy department. And actually, if you research the political economy major requirements, you only have to take 2 political economy classes to graduate. There are, of course, other political economy courses, but you're not required to take those for graduation. So I really like how my major is really flexible. And yeah, I'll pass on to Millie because Millie has a really interesting story about choosing majors here at Cal.
Thank you, Austin. Yeah, so I've only ever met one other triple major, so it's not very common. I started off as a political science major, and when you enter into the College of Letters and Science, which is our biggest college, it houses over 70% of our students. It honestly, like, you come in as undeclared. You're just intended, so you have an emphasis, right? And so really gives you the time to really branch out. And so that's what I did. I just took a lot of random courses that I knew I wanted to explore. And so I lined up with political science, thinking that I wanted to go into politics. And so I'm very stern though, and I don't know how to let go. So I was in my sophomore year, I had declared poli-sci. But I realized that in my classes, there was not a lot of students who looked like me, and I was starting to feel a little uncomfortable. Also, the material that was taught, I felt like wasn't as relevant as I wanted it to be. So I ended up just thinking, okay, I'll take a couple legal studies classes that actually overlap so they can meet political science requirements. And in doing that, I just fell in love with the major, right? I took a class on immigration and citizenship, which is very applicable to my day-to-day. I took a class on diversity in the law, right? What does that look like? And these all fell under legal studies. And so I started to explore that more. And in doing that, I realized that it was totally possible to double major and still graduate within 4 years. So I just talked to my legal studies advisor, and she was definitely very helpful. Just wanted me to know double majoring is a big deal. You all have to take 16 units. And so she helped me lay out my 4-year plan. And so I got that signed on. And then my political science that I had already declared, their advisors there just add on to say, all right, she can do it. And so I was actually just a political science and a legal studies major for a lot of my undergrad career. I was planning on minoring in ethnic studies. So I just needed 5 classes, which I was already taking, Chicano film classes that I enjoyed. But when COVID hit, I was going to say Miss Rona, when COVID hit, it really just scratched all that I had planned, right? For junior year, I was going to go to Barcelona for the summer. And so I was just well, I don't know what else to be besides a student. So I really just packed on 2 other classes that summer that were in ethnic studies. And then I realized that if I took a couple more classes, I would just be able to take 2 more and extend a semester. So when you declare a double major, you're allowed to extend a semester. So it'd be 4 years and a half. And so I wasn't planning on utilizing this extra semester because I was I can graduate. But then I realized I can take it, I can add ethnic studies as a triple major, and I can get 1 more in-person actual semester. And so that's what I did. So that now that I'll be graduating in December, I'm actually able to cherish 1 in-person semester.
Okay, I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions in our last 4 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna ask you a question, quickly answer. What is your favorite boba spot on campus? Austin.
TPT.
That's Taiwanese professional tea. That's what that stands for. Millie.
Yifeng.
Alejandra.
I think the one Austin mentioned is the one I like the most. I always forget the name.
Yeah, Taiwanese professional tea. They're a little fancy. I like that, the bougie. Okay, so next question. What is your favorite building on campus architecturally, to look at aesthetically? What's your favorite building? Let's start with Millie.
Wheeler.
Austin.
Oh, Sproul. I spend a lot of time here in the admissions office.
Alejandra.
Sproul.
Love it. No one said Worcester Hall. Okay. Another question. Millie, let me know, should students bring cars in their first year on campus?
No, absolutely not. Parking is ridiculous. To get a permit is 2 times more ridiculous. And then if you do park, it's like $100 a month. So unless you have the money, no.
Yeah, and even if you do sometimes, right, it's not the best. It's hard to not get a ticket. Parking tickets in Berkeley is major. Okay, let's go on to another rapid fire question. Where is your favorite place to eat? Alejandra. I know you said artichoke Brazil. Try a different one though.
Yeah, LA Kitchens actually.
Austin.
I have 2, M Thai and Ike sandwiches.
Nice. Millie.
Berkeley Thai House. Love her.
That's the classic. Absolutely. Okay, so next question. Where's your favorite place to study? Alejandra.
Moffett Library, 5th floor, super quiet.
Millie.
I'm between Moffett too, 5th floor, where you're facing campus, so pretty, or the Ethnic Studies Library, also super quiet.
Austin.
I also agree with Alejandra. Moffett Library, 5th floor, super quiet. And I think the chairs there are more comfortable compared to other chairs at other libraries.
All right, love that. All right, last question. What is your favorite? Oh my gosh, there's a few that I have like. Where's your favorite view? If you're on campus, where is your favorite view to look out on? I'll give you like 20 seconds to think about it. Austin?
So I would say the top of the physics or like the astrophysics library or the astrophysics department building. I have a friend who's an astrophysics major and I went to the top. I was like, wow, I wish I was an astrophysics or astronomy major. This is a great view. Also the panoramic Berkeley, which is an on-campus apartment building, has a really great view on the rooftop.
Millie?
I don't know what the building is called, but it's where the engineering center is, like on top of the engineering center. There's a little cafe up there and it faces like the Glade and the Campanile. It's just so pretty. There's also seating space there so you could work. So pretty.
Oh, Creasage Terrace?
Maybe, yeah. We'll say that.
Alejandra?
Yeah, it's the same place that Mila mentioned. I don't know the names of like most of the places, but yeah, definitely that one. I know which one you're talking about.
I'm surprised no one said what's in the background of all your pictures, going up to the Campanile and looking at the view from there. Anyways, thank you all so much for your time and your responses. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover all the questions, but there will be a recording and there's also a transfer student panel that's going to happen, I believe, tomorrow or soon. So check out the link to Discover Berkeley, and thanks for joining us. Thank you to the students, really appreciate you, and thank you to our guests. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Great questions and great panels. You guys did great.
Go Bears.
Go Bears, yes.
Go Bears.